Hello everybody, I'm Tim, and today I'd like to talk to you about the Email Dave problem. So every team has a Dave. Your Dave might not be called Dave. Your Dave might be called Peter, or Gwen, or Felicia, or Harry, but my Dave was called Dave, which is why he's called Dave. And I guarantee somewhere in your team or somewhere in your business, you will talk to somebody and say, how do I do this? And they'll say, oh, you just email Dave. It's great, isn't it? It's great for you to just be able to sort of pass that over to Dave and it just happens sort of magically. And no one ever really thinks about those situations where they're just asking, Dave to do something, emailing Dave. But email Dave is not a process. Lurking behind every email Dave, there is a process. A process that's not transparent necessarily, and it's fraught with potential opportunities or potential problems. So let's think about what the implications of an email Dave scenario might be. To start with, from your perspective, you don't really know or care what happens behind the email Dave. But what happens if the demand for that process increases? Is Dave going to be able to cope with the increased workload, the increased capacity? If suddenly you need to email Dave 100 times a day, is he going to be able to do that? The other thing that you see is sometimes that teams merge or companies merge, and they've all got their own Daves. So suddenly, you have lots of Daves who you're emailing and there's no consistency of standard, there's no consistency of quality, there's no consistency of timing or expectation. So hiding behind the email Dave is a potential business risk. Finally, what about Dave himself? Dave's got ambitions. Dave doesn't want to just be responding to these emails all the time, but if he's the only cog in the wheel, the only way that this particular process can happen, then it could impact his ability to go on holiday, his ability to move roles. It might just be affecting his general job satisfaction. Has anyone asked Dave? How does Dave feel? So email Dave is not a process. And if you look round and you can see some email Dave scenarios, then at best you have a massive improvement opportunity. A way of taking that one piece of work that's a complete black box and making it more efficient or making it more understood or making it more standardized. At worst, you've got a potential business risk where you have a single point of failure or a scalability problem or a consistency and quality problem. Either way, look for those email Dave scenarios, and remember, email Dave is not a process.